You've been removed from the project." The words hit Haley like a punch to the chest. She blinked at the email on her glowing monitor, rereading the sentence again and again. The product launch, the campaign she had practically lived inside for the last 6 weeks, was being handed off to Andrew. Andrew, the junior strategist who had copied half her pitch slides and repackaged them with a sleeker font and a couple of stock photos. No meeting, no warning, just an after-hours email with CCs to half the senior team. She stared at the screen, fingers frozen above the keyboard, then slowly shut her laptop without a word. Her heart pounded with fury and humiliation, but she swallowed it. Not now. Not here. Not when she had a plane to catch and a birthday vacation to celebrate. The Miami sun felt too bright when she stepped out of the cab. The hotel shimmered in white and chrome, ultra-modern beachside opulence. It had taken her 3 months, 15 spreadsheets, and one drained savings account to plan this trip. A beachfront suite. First-class flights booked with miles. Custom itinerary. Dinner reservations tailored to Mom's dietary needs and Stephanie's pickiness. This was supposed to be the payoff. The reward. Inside the marble-floored lobby, her mother Catherine looked around, impressed despite herself. "Wow," she murmured, as chandeliers danced in the sunlight. Stephanie, trailing behind with sunglasses too big for her face, barely glanced up from her phone. The check-in went smoothly, thanks to Haley's early online registration. Their suite was better than the photos. Ocean view, 3 rooms, a wraparound balcony. And then came the first blow. "Which one's mine?" Stephanie asked, walking into the master bedroom without waiting. "Mom's, of course," Haley replied gently. "It's her birthday trip." Stephanie pouted. "But I wanted the ocean view." Haley offered the compromise before the argument could escalate. "You can take the middle room. I'll take the one facing the street." She smiled. "It's not a big deal." It was always like this. Keep the peace. Bend so others don't break. At lunch, things started fine. Cocktails, ocean breeze, Mom even complimenting the table view. Then came the ceviche. "It's too limey," Stephanie announced loudly, pushing her plate away. "Also, it's hot out here. Couldn't we have eaten inside?" "I asked for outdoor seating because of the view, but we'll just eat fast," Catherine cut in. "Let's not make a scene." That phrase. Always that phrase. Back at the hotel, Haley suggested the beach. "I booked us a premium cabana," she said brightly. "Adults only area, shaded, fruit platter at 10. "I'm tired," Mom said, already heading to her room. "My nails chipped in the flight," Stephanie added, following suit. Haley stood in the hallway, alone, holding a beach tote that suddenly felt very heavy. The next morning, she woke early to secure their cabana anyway. She ordered breakfast, prepped towels, queued sunscreen bottles like she was running a spa retreat. At 9:30, they were still in pajamas. "We might go shopping," Stephanie said, not looking up from her phone. "Amber said there's a mall nearby." "But the walking tour's at 1, non-refundable." "It's vacation, Haley," Mom replied. "Let's not obsess over schedules." Obsess. That word stung more than it should. Amber entered the picture at dinner, a tall, tanned local with an effortless smile and a sense of ownership over every room she walked into. Stephanie beamed around her like a moon orbiting a brighter planet. "I told Amber about the trip," she said over appetizers. "She wants to take us to the real Miami, not the tourist version." "We have a reservation tonight," Haley said, trying to remain calm. "It's a chef-tasting menu. Mom, you'd love it." "Can't we cancel?" Stephanie whined. "They charge for no shows," Haley reminded her. "So it's about money now?" Stephanie snapped. Later that night, Haley overheard them talking while she folded towels in her room. "She's just so controlling," Stephanie said. "Like this is her work conference." "She means well," Catherine replied, but her voice was exhausted. "Still, it would be nice not to feel like we're being managed." Haley pressed her palm over her mouth to keep from crying out loud. Every single detail she'd planned had been thrown aside, and somehow she was the problem. The next day, she woke early again. Determined to turn things around, she arranged a private breakfast on the balcony. Flowers, champagne, cards. It was the closest she'd felt to hopeful since landing. Mom was genuinely touched. "This is lovely, Haley. Thank you." Then Stephanie's phone buzzed. Amber says there's a special event today, VIP list, celebrity sightings. We have to go. Haley's smile dropped. I already booked Laya Beach Club. Quiet, peaceful. You said you wanted that, Mom. But this sounds exciting, Mom said, glancing at Stephanie's eager face. Can't we just change it? The cabana she'd prepaid at Laya was gone. The new one was $800 with minimum spend. Haley paid anyway. She didn't argue when Amber's friends joined them uninvited. She didn't complain when one of them rooted through her bag and used her sunscreen without asking. Until finally, something snapped. Please don't go through my things, Haley said. The woman laughed. Chill, it's just sunscreen. Haley reached for her bag, knocking over a glass in the process. It shattered. Everyone turned. Amber, Stephanie, her mother. You're making a scene, Stephanie hissed. Haley's voice trembled. You invited strangers, spent my money, ignored everything I planned. You need to leave, Catherine said. Her voice was quiet, final. For a second, time stopped. Then Haley stepped back. Okay, she whispered. I'll leave. And she did, without looking back. If you've ever been pushed aside after giving your all, type 1 in the comments. You're not alone. Haley's phone buzzed the moment she stepped back into the hotel room, her face flushed from the confrontation. She wiped her eyes and checked the notification. Restricted access. You no longer have permission to view shared folder, Q3 launch drafts. It was from her company's project server, the one she had spent weeks filling with campaign research, buyer personas, and pitch decks. Her jaw clenched. She opened her email. Her subject, timeline alignment adjustments. Haley, in your absence, Andrew has taken point on the Q3 launch direction. Please route any feedback through him moving forward. Mark. No call, no explanation, just quietly removed, again. Haley sat down at the hotel desk, staring at the cold, beige walls. Somewhere in the distance, the music from the beach club was still thumping. She started to pack. Every movement was clinical. Fold, zip, stack, seal. The physical task grounded her while her mind reeled. She hadn't overreacted. She'd spent thousands, planned every meal, every tour, every moment. She tried to please everyone, and yet she was still too much, too rigid, too controlling. She wasn't walking away out of spite. She was walking away to survive. She left a detailed note on the suite's coffee table. All confirmation numbers. All prepaid tours and dining spots. Contact info for concierge Luis. Instructions for transfers and amenities. Nothing emotional, just facts. She couldn't trust herself to write more without crying. Downstairs, Luis looked up with quiet concern. Miss Walker, is everything all right? I'm heading home early, Haley said, her voice steady. My mother and sister will stay. Can you help ensure all the arrangements still apply? Luis didn't ask questions. He simply nodded. Of course. She booked the next flight to NYC. One seat, economy, no upgrades, no comfort. On the plane, Haley watched as Miami disappeared through the window. The waves looked so calm from above, indifferent. She kept checking her bank app. Her travel fund was nearly depleted. She transferred the remaining balance to her mom. Just because she was leaving didn't mean they should be stranded. The flight attendant asked if she wanted a drink. Haley shook her head. Her throat was tight. By the time the plane landed, she felt hollow. Back in New York, her apartment was dark and still. Dust motes floated in the air as she stepped inside. Nothing had changed, and yet everything had. She left her suitcase by the door and collapsed onto the couch, fully dressed. She didn't cry. Not yet. Just lay there, arms limp at her sides, staring at the ceiling as if waiting for some divine message that would never come. The next morning, her phone exploded. 12 missed calls from Mom, 5 from Stephanie. The texts came in waves. You didn't have to make such a scene. We couldn't find the cruise info. Where did you leave it? I hope you're happy. You ruined Mom's birthday. Please respond, we're worried now. None said I'm sorry. None said thank you. None acknowledged what she had endured. She turned the phone over and left it screened down on the table. That evening, Jessica arrived without asking. Haley's best friend. Loyal, blunt, exactly what she needed. Jessica brought wine, Thai food, and a pint of ice cream. Your mom called me, Jessica said while unpacking takeout. She's worried. I didn't say anything, just told her you were safe. Haley stared into her pad thai container. Did I overreact? Jessica looked up sharply. No, you finally stood up for yourself. That's not an overreaction. That's overdue. Haley swallowed hard. They're pretending it never happened. Mom posted on Facebook. Photos from the trip. Caption said I left early for work. Jessica snorted. Of course she did. Later that night, Linda, Mom's best friend, called. I just wanted to check if you're okay, she said gently. I'm fine, Haley said. Just needed space. Your mom is trying to cover up a mess she doesn't know how to fix, Linda said. They couldn't figure out the boat reservation yesterday. Couldn't find the dinner booking either. She's panicking, Haley. They have everything they need, Haley said. I left it all. Instructions, folder, contacts. They just didn't care to read, Linda sighed. They're realizing now just how much you did, and how badly they treated you. The next morning, Haley tried to focus on work, but something nagged. She logged into the project portal at the office. Andrew had submitted the final deck. It was her format, her data, her design, but scrubbed of her name. She emailed HR, attached the version history, timestamps, and Slack messages. No emotion, just evidence. If they wanted to treat her like she was invisible, she'd remind them she wasn't. That afternoon, her phone buzzed again. A new message from Stephanie. We're flying back early. Mom wants to talk. We're coming to your place. Haley stared at the screen. For a second, her chest tightened. Then she stood up. She wasn't the same woman who cried in the cabana 2 days ago. If they were coming, they'd have to face the version of her who finally chose herself. If you've ever had to walk away to protect your peace, drop a 2 in the comments. Let's talk about how hard that moment really is. Haley's apartment was silent, save for the low hum of her refrigerator and the faint ticking of the wall clock. The knock at her door felt both too soon and long overdue. She opened it to find her mother and sister standing there, awkward, travel-worn, and, unexpectedly, without their usual armor of defensiveness. You're not supposed to be back yet, Haley said flatly, stepping aside. We came home early, Catherine said softly. Can we come in? Haley nodded once and led them into the living room, where the sunlight hit the couch at an angle that made everything feel too exposed. The silence stretched. We need to talk, Stephanie said. It was the first time she had spoken without her signature tone of condescension or complaint. The 3 of them sat in tense stillness. Catherine shifted uncomfortably. The trip fell apart after you left, she finally admitted. Haley didn't respond. She watched them, waiting, not ready to make it easier. We couldn't find the meeting point for the sunset cruise, Stephanie added. We missed it. Then we got lost trying to find the restaurant you booked. They said they didn't have the reservation because it was under your name. Haley blinked slowly. I left detailed instructions. They were there, Catherine admitted, but we didn't read them, not until it was too late. There was a long pause. I was jealous, Stephanie said suddenly. I thought if I brought Amber in, if I made the trip feel cooler, I wouldn't feel so small compared to you. That stung more than Haley expected. You always have it together, Stephanie continued. Your job, your apartment, your plans. I just wanted to feel like I mattered too. Haley crossed her arms. And using my credit card without asking? That was about feeling important? Stephanie looked down. I have no excuse for that. Catherine cleared her throat. I enabled her. I've always protected Stephanie more than I should have. I thought she needed it. I didn't realize I was putting everything on your shoulders to balance it all. And when things fell apart, I blamed the wrong person. You told me to leave, Haley said, her voice quieter than she expected, but cutting all the same. I know. Catherine's voice cracked. It was the worst thing I could have said. The conversation shifted from confrontation to confession. They peeled back layers that had hardened into patterns over the years. Catherine admitted she had always expected more from Haley simply because she could handle it. And in doing so, she failed to see how deeply it hurt. Stephanie finally acknowledged that she often played the baby because it was the only identity she'd ever been allowed to have. "I don't want that anymore," Stephanie said. "I want to contribute. I want to do better." "We can't undo the trip," Catherine said, "but we can start changing how we show up from now on." Haley stared at the two women she loved and resented and needed more than she liked to admit. Something inside her softened just slightly. "Fine," she said. "Let's see if you mean it." The next week, they started family therapy. Haley was skeptical at first, but to her surprise, her mom showed up early. Stephanie didn't deflect or joke her way through the sessions. And for the first time, Haley felt heard without being interrupted. At work, things shifted too. Her complaint about Andrew's data theft triggered an internal investigation. HR looped in legal. The AI-generated documents he'd submitted had used Haley's metadata and original timestamps, clear evidence of manipulation. Andrew was removed from the launch. Haley was reinstated and asked to present her work directly to the CMO. It wasn't just a professional win, it was validation. 6 months later, the three of them tried again. This time, no luxury hotels, just a weekend at a quiet cabin near the Catskills. The plan was collaborative. Stephanie handled groceries. Catherine coordinated the drive. It wasn't perfect. Old patterns tried to creep in, but they caught themselves, talked through things instead of exploding. On the final night, they sat on the porch, sipping wine, wrapped in blankets. "To Haley," Catherine said, lifting her glass, "who taught us that respect can't be booked in advance, but it must be earned, every day." Stephanie joined the toast. "And to boundaries. May we keep them, not cross them." Haley smiled. For once, not from exhaustion, but from real warmth. Her phone buzzed. An email from the company's DEI committee. "We'd love to feature you in our Voice of Integrity panel next month. Your report inspired changes to our IP protocol." She read it twice, then set the phone down. Not because she was ignoring it, but because she didn't need external proof anymore. She had her voice, she had her worth, and she wasn't giving either away again without consent. If you've ever had to fight to be seen, to be heard, and finally earned the respect you always deserved, type 3 in the comments. This is for you.